your hosts, Tanika Wright, Malin Pio, and Lenoxia Sutherland.
Hey guys, and welcome to the after party. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about abusive relationships. But first, here's Tanika with your daily quote.
You gotta love yourself first. You gotta be okay on your own before you could be okay with somebody else.
And that's so good that you said that, Tanika, because I feel like a lot of women and men, they don't love themselves before they enter a relationship. And I feel like if you don't love yourself, then you won't be able to love someone else fully. Do you know what I
You
mean?
can't rely on someone else's for your happiness.
Exactly.
true.
And I think that relationship would even be healthy because there's no love within yourself.
Yeah. Agree. But you know what? Also, too, some people, you know, even if it's in high school or after, some people just want to be in a relationship just to be in a relationship. I guess to have like a cuddle partner or something like that.
Because other friends
Yeah.
have.
And don't really understand or value, you know, or really acknowledge or understand the meaning of what real love is, or just respect. Just
For sure.
respect.
Yeah.
I agree.
So let's go to our first question. What was your worst relationship experience, you guys would say?
My worst relationship experience would be when I was 19 years old. I was seeing this guy for about 7, 8 months. And one day he got really mad at me, and he actually like picked me up and he threw me across the room, and my head hit like the glass mirror, so like the glass could have broken. And I was like, why would you do that? He's like, well, you got me mad. And I felt like it was my fault because I got him mad. So I was like, hey, you know what, well,
It's not
I
your fault.
I guess I deserve, well, back then, you know, and I was so young, so I guess I was like, oh, well, it's my fault. I probably got him mad. And even like throughout that time that we were seeing each other, he would like just disrespect me. Like I would call him, he would hang up the phone on me, he would like go weeks without talking to me and then come back whenever he feels like it. Like he would just be really disrespectful,
Okay,
and I would accept that.
Yeah, so let me ask you a quick question. So why did you think it was your fault? Because you represent so many hundreds of thousands of millions of women. Even me, like I do that too. Why do you, in that situation, why did you feel that it was your fault initially?
Because I felt like I got him mad. Like, I feel because if you get somebody mad, it's your fault because you got them mad. You know what I mean? I felt like also it's my fault because if I didn't get him mad, he wouldn't have like abused me. Like he wouldn't have like thrown me into the glass. You know what I mean? So I guess I could have prevented that.
Did it happen again after?
No, I spoke to him after that. Like we continued seeing each other, but after that I stopped seeing him. And then
Yeah, it's that's crazy, but I'm so happy just happy that you overcame that and you're so
Yeah.
strong. What about you, Malin?
I would say my worst relationship was probably when I was in like the 10th grade and I was talking to a guy that was in university at the time. It was more mental and like emotional abuse than it was physical. Like he would tell me things one day and another thing the next day, and he would always like blow me off and like have excuses for hanging out and things like that. So I eventually like got to the point where I was just like, I was so heartbroken by it, and I was just like, we're not even together. Like I need to just move on.
yeah.
I don't need to deal with any of this, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but you know what? Also, too, just being in an abusive relationship, it doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be a man. It could also be a friend. For example, my situation, I had a friend that was a female.
Yeah.
And there was just so much going back and forth and just lying and all just shady things too. And just like for you girls or you men out there, if you have a friend that doesn't respect you for who you are, then you need to take a step back and just respect yourself.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's true.
And did you guys know that 8 in 10 victims that reported to police were female?
What?
Yeah.
Wow. 8 in 10? That's
Yeah.
almost 10 out of 10. That's ridiculous.
Exactly. So I feel like although you said, Tanika, I agree with you that it goes both ways, men and women. Women go through it more. You hardly see cases
Absolutely.
out there where a woman is abusing a man.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
And also, did you know, according to the Canadian Red Cross, 1 in 11 teens have reported that they have experienced some sort of physical abuse in a relationship?
That's so
Where do you guys think
sad.
that this abuse comes from? Like, why do you think one person abused the other person? Like, you know what I mean?
You mean like why do men abuse women?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily just men abusing women, though. I think it's more people don't know how to handle their anger. So it's like they just start hitting things and they don't know like what they're doing wrong until afterwards, and they're like, oh, why'd you do that to me? And then that's when they realize, oh, I did something.
Yeah, for me personally, I know Lenoxia, you said 8 out of 10 women. I feel 8 out of the 10 women, I feel that men do. A lot of men feel that they could do what they want sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes, because the women, example for your situation or even my situation with my friend, we don't necessarily always have the strength to leave. We don't have the strength to get up and say, what, I'm done. That's it.
Because you feel like you need that person in
Right.
your life. You feel like if that person isn't there anymore, then what are you gonna do?
But let me ask you a question for both of you ladies. When, let's say you're in a relationship, when is enough for you? When would you say, you know what, I'm done? When
For me-
would it be?
For me, I guess it was like when I always cried when I was with this guy. Like I cried more than I was happy. So I guess one day I was in one of my breakdowns just crying over this guy, and I was like, Lenoxy, what are you doing? And I feel like everyone is different. It just hits you. You can't explain it. It just hits you like. Know your worth, know what you're worth, love yourself more, and then eventually just walk away. And walking away is really hard. Like, it's so hard because, like, after that, you start to miss the person, you start to miss being with that person. It's like, should I go back? And I guess they weren't so bad. I mean, I guess if I didn't do that, then he wouldn't have done this. And, like, you start to make excuses, and that's what
Yeah,
happens.
I just, like, for me personally, I just feel that your friends and your family are so important, because when you share your stories, like, you know, when you guys watch, or when you guys see the episode we did before, we talked about bullying, and we also talked about sharing with your family and friends, even with just being in an abusive relationship, just sharing and letting your close friends and your family know what's going on.
Yeah.
When you have that positivity and you have that support, you will be able to get that strength to move out of that relationship. Because you know what? So many women and men say, you know what? If I was in an abusive relationship, or if a man hit me, I would leave. But there are women that are in that situation, or they end up in that situation, and they don't have that strength to leave, because it's one thing to actually say something, and then it's another whole level to actually do it. So I feel, you know, you women that are watching this right now and you are in an abusive relationship, if it's mentally, physically, emotionally, you tell your friends, tell your family members, so you have that extra strength, because it's hard to do it on your own and by yourself. Why do it by yourself?
Yeah, and don't ever think that just because you've been with them for a long time that you're wasting your time for leaving. You can leave whenever you want. If you're not happy, you have to leave.
And just like what Tanika said, pointed with the tell your friends or family, sometimes you don't want to, because you don't want them to feel like you're a weak person. You don't want to tell them because you don't want them to judge your boyfriend that you have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They all think that your boyfriend is this perfect person, but then when you tell them all these stories that he's done to you, it's like you don't want them to look at him any differently. You want them to love him just as much as you do. You know
Yeah,
what I
but
mean?
the thing is that how are you gonna love someone who disrespects you? You know what I mean? How are you gonna love someone that treats you bad? You can't lie. You know, you can't lie. You can't, you know, even sometimes if you want to hide what that person's doing sometimes, and that's naturally, I've done that before too. Because it's like when you really like someone or you really care about someone, you don't want to rant about that person
Exactly.
so much. But when they're doing it consistently and over, there's a time and there's a place.
Yeah, and also people get really comfortable with people emotionally abusing them and physically abusing them. So you can't let people disrespect you and get comfortable with it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like for the young women or young men out there watching, what advice would you guys give them if they're dealing with being abused in a relationship?
Talk to someone. You can't bottle things up inside before it ruins you yourself.
Yeah, I feel that, as I said earlier, tell someone, tell your friend, and honestly, write everything down. One thing that I do, I never used to like writing before,
Journals.
trust me. That was before I got into the journalism program, guys. But write everything down, because I feel when you write, you just express how you feel, and it feels so good. And just write. And you know, I was watching Mary Jane one time, and she has like these little post-its.
yeah.
Like, I'm pretty, I'm this, I'm that, and it's so helpful because it reminds you of how beautiful you are.
Yeah.
And all you women, and you know, even some men out there, because I know there's some of you men that are getting abused too, even if it's a small amount, but you know, you are special. You are on this earth for a reason. You know, everyone doesn't get a life. You know, there's so many people that are sick, so many people that are in wars right now, and you know, you are worthy to have the respect that you need.
But the thing is with I think the reason why some women don't leave abusive relationships is because in the beginning the guy wasn't abusive. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the abuse starts a year later or 2 years later. So they already fell for the guy, they're already so in love, and when the guy abuses them the first time, they're like, well, you know, like, he wasn't always like this. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
feel like they start doing that. The abuse doesn't come 2 months in, or else she would have left already.
And they always believe he's gonna change.
He's going to
She's
change.
gonna change. He's gonna change.
Yeah.
He's going to change.
So did you guys learn anything from I guess, your stories that you shared with everyone? Did you learn anything from that? And if you did, how would you use it in your relationships today?
I definitely did learn something. I definitely learned to love myself more. I feel like after that incident, I was so much stronger. I didn't take disrespect or anything from any other guy after that. So I think that experience made me a lot stronger today. And with the relationships I am in currently, I guess it just makes me stronger and lets me know what the limits are, what you can do to me, what you cannot do to me.
That's good.
Yeah.
And for me, I think it's hard for me now because I always relate things to my past relationships and my past experiences, and I guess I don't give people enough chances, or I don't trust people that easily anymore, just because I've been put down. I've been like, just everything was just ruined about me because of those relationships. So it's like I tried growing up and I tried moving past it, but sometimes it's just too hard to do it.
And you're so scared to like commit to somebody because
Yeah.
you feel like what the other person did to you, they're gonna do to you as
Happen
well.
again.
Exactly. I know exactly what you mean.
Been there, done that.
So if you or anyone that you know is being abused, get help because your health and safety is the most important thing.
Yes.
And thank you guys for watching.
And we
Thank you,
out.
guys.
Bye guys. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah, down below.